Do you have a dream?
I had a dream once.
Is it to learn more about Disney's first computer-generated princess film? Well, you can finally let your hair down. It took us a while to climb the tower.
Please don't freak out.
But we're finally bringing you the highlights of Disney's feature film, Tangled. Hi, I'm Leo Camacho with Channel Frederator, and there was a lot of hair for us to brush up on. So, whip out your smolders, heat up your frying pans, and get ready to untangle a load of hairy trivia. This is 107 facts about Tangled. Let's get started. Number 1. Tangled has the honored title of being Walt Disney Animation Studios' 50th feature film. That's a major milestone. When the directors found out, they were surprised, but felt even more determined to make it a great one. Number 2. Tangled was also the first Disney princess film to be rated PG by the MPAA. The next two princess films, Frozen and Moana, followed suit by receiving PG ratings as well. Number 3. At a cost of $260 million, Tangled is not only the most expensive Disney animated film to be made, it is the most expensive animated film of all time as of this video. Number 4. But Tangled did manage to bring in some money, making $350 million worldwide. Number 5. The idea to create a Rapunzel film was floating around Disney Studios since around the 1940s. That's 70 years it took to film. Walt Disney wanted to tackle the story himself, but wasn't sure how to turn the small-scaled fairy tale into an epic adventure. Number 6. When the studio finally decided to make the film a reality, it took 10 years of development until the Tangled we now know was finally picked up for production. During those development years, 3 different versions of the story were worked on. Number 7. It was KEANE, legendary Disney animator, who convinced the studio to begin work on Rapunzel's story. But while he wanted to create a sincere fairy tale, the executives wanted to mimic DreamWorks' success with Shrek by poking fun at fairy tales as opposed to taking them to heart. Thus, Rapunzel Unbraided was born. Can you imagine? They had a bunch of two-headed cyclopses. Cyclopses? Number 8. In the Rapunzel Unbraided version of the film, the main characters were named Claire and Vince. This bickering teenage couple would have been sent to a magical world and then taken over the bodies of the real Rapunzel and her prince Beau. Sounds a little like that version inspired Disney's other film, Enchanted. Number 9. Unbraided was meant to take place in San Francisco before Claire and Vince were transported to the magical realm through the witch's wicked curse who despised happy endings. Number 10. Reese Witherspoon was a producer behind Rapunzel Unbraided and was also set to voice Claire, who, as we mentioned earlier, eventually swapped bodies with Rapunzel. Rapunzel herself would have been transformed into a squirrel voiced by KRISTEN. Yep. Number 11. By the time KEANE pitched the idea of doing a Rapunzel-themed story, the studio knew it wanted to begin heading toward CG animation. To convince Glenn that the computer graphics would still be pretty, they animated a test where Rapunzel was swinging in the forest. Number 12. The test was based on the French Rococo painting, The Swing, by Jean-Honoré Fragonard. A few years later, this very painting showed up in Anna and Elsa's castle. Number 13. KEANE hoped to create a CG style of animation that combined the world of computer with hand-drawn visuals. While Tangled didn't completely meet this desire, it eventually came true in the short Paperman. Number 14. After becoming the head of Disney Animation, it was John Lasseter who made the call to completely redo the Rapunzel-themed story and push it towards KEANE's true desire to make the touching fairy tale film. Number 15. And so, work began on Glenn Keane's personal vision of Rapunzel. He wanted to focus on European art as an inspiration by having Rapunzel take on a darker tone and theme, which he hoped would evoke a sense of Rembrandt's paintings. Number 16. KEANE was going to co-direct Rapunzel with Dean Wellens, who later went on to be a story artist on the Tangled we know now. You've definitely seen his work on other Disney films like Bolt, Big Hero 6, and Zootopia. Number 17. In Keane's dark version, rather than having Rapunzel pioneer a combative use of frying pans, she was supposed to be amazingly skilled at using a crossbow. Whoa. Number 18. Rapunzel was still going to have an animal companion in the dark version, except instead of the sassy chameleon we know today, he was supposed to be a fuzzy little squirrel. Oddly enough, we actually think the chameleon is more cuddly, even if he is a little scaly. Number 19. Unfortunately, Glenn Keane suffered a heart attack in 2008 and decided to leave the position of director. However, Keane did stay on as an animation director for what would become Tangled. Number 20. Looking for someone who could make the project his own, Lasseter approached Nathan GRENO, asking him if he wanted to direct Tangled. After having worked with Bolt director BYRON Howard on the short film Super Rhino, GRENO knew he wanted to work with him again and asked if Howard could co-direct. Thus, the third and final development of the Rapunzel story was underway. Number 21. When GRENO and Howard first thought about how they wanted to make the movie to stand out stylistically, they knew they wanted it to feel very Disney. So, of course, they referenced Cinderella and Pinocchio's signature looks to understand the flow of shapes and lines. Number 22. However, the new and final project came with a tight schedule. GRENO and Howard were told that their film needed to be completed in 2 years. Most other Disney films had double the amount of time to get to the end product. So, deadlines became a huge part of Tangled's production, and there were no holidays. Talk about dedication.
Don't ever ask to leave this tower
again.
Number 23. In fact, by the last May of production, they had only animated about 40% of the film, and only had 2 more months to finish. No extensions. Weekend homework doesn't seem so bad now, does it? Number 24. And at the September 2010 press event that Disney held for Tangled, it shouldn't be a surprise that the film was shown. Well, sort of. Since only 60% of the animation was completely rendered, the score wasn't put in, the 3D effects weren't ready, and the movie the press watched was extremely rough. It was just a reminder that this was only months before the film was released. Number 25. One of the first scenes of the entire film to be animated was the one in which Flynn is trapped in a chair by Rapunzel's hair. By the time they finished, they were already working on the other shots, but that was the first stepping stone for the feature film. Number 26. But the scene in which Rapunzel struggles between the joy of having left her tower and the anxiety that she felt for betraying her mom's trust was one of the first scenes to be storyboarded. You can thank story artist Mark Smith for that. Number 27. Many of the animators credit Glenn Keane for making their shots even better. He would draw over every scene to create a standard for the full film, even after animators presented him with what they thought would be their finalized versions. He usually focused on the eyes and told them all to tilt, rhythm, and twist when it came to personifying the body. Number 28. Otherwise, the storyboards were usually so well defined that the animators would do exactly what they saw, even if it meant little movement. But one scene that gave more freedom was Flynn's pan sword fight, and the animators had a load of fun creating that movement in their reference room. Number 29. They went back and forth on how old Mother Gothel should appear when she's young. First, they decided on 40, but she looked 50 when they rendered her. They had a little age slider so they could play with the way that Gothel looked. Apparently, 80 years old was absolutely terrifying, and getting her age down was vital. Number 30. Donna Murphy, the Broadway actress who brought Mother Gothel to life, believes that Rapunzel was the first real relationship that her wicked character truly had. She feels that there was some actual love in there, even if it came from a manipulative source. Number 31. While trying to work through the relationship between Rapunzel and her mother figure, the directors asked women in the studio to go over their own personal relationships with their mothers. They were surprised that so many mothers would say such harsh words with the mindset of, "It's best for you."
I'm just saying 'cause I love you.
And that, plus many other aspects they learned, made it into Gothel's final personality. Number 32. There were hundreds of women auditioning for the part of Rapunzel, and one such person was IDINA Menzel. You might recognize her name from a small little movie that Disney released later called Frozen. The casting director recorded Menzel's audition on her phone and was waiting to give her a call back for the right fit, and luckily, she didn't have to wait too long. Number 33. You know who else auditioned for Rapunzel? KRISTEN Bell, aka Princess Anna. From the get-go, the casting director told her she thought she'd be great for a project that was then titled The Snow Queen. Number 34. Originally, Flynn Rider was supposed to have a British voice. Zachary Levi even auditioned for the role by putting on the accent, but Lasseter wasn't fond of people acting with accents, so he asked Levi to use his regular voice. Number 35. Even though their on-screen chemistry is off the charts, Mandy Moore and Zachary Levi didn't actually record together. None of the actors did. Wow, could have fooled us. Number 36. Mandy Moore and Donna Murphy didn't officially meet until after they had recorded all of their parts in Tangled. They met during a press conference interview, and Mandy said she absolutely loves Donna and even wishes that she could be her real mother. Number 37. Zachary Levi and Mandy Moore met halfway through recording the movie for the only part they actually did record together, the duet I See the Light. Number 38. Speaking of music, Alan Menken, the composer of Tangled's music, among many other Disney films, Little Mermaid anyone? Stated that there was no easy way into the musical language of the film. He had to work on elevating the story through his music and making it feel authentic. Number 39. Rapunzel's debut song, When Will My Life Begin, was almost cut from the film. Alan Menken had to persuade John Lasseter to keep it in the final version. Thankfully, all his efforts worked out. It's definitely what I sing during my 7 a.m. usual morning lineup. Doesn't everyone? Number 40. Actually, there was a small part of the song that was cut out. Teenage Rapunzel's introduction was supposed to immediately start with her singing, instead of her playing hide and seek with Pascal. The rest of the song continues on as what we now know, so we didn't actually miss too much. Number 41. There's also a slightly extended version of Mother Knows Best, where Gothel acts as though she would die if Rapunzel ever betrayed her and left the tower. Some of you may know this version, however, because it made it onto the album. Number 42. You Are My Forever was a deleted song altogether. It was eventually replaced by both Mother Knows Best and I See the Light, as it was supposed to be Gothel's, motherly song that would have been reprised by Rapunzel during the romantic lantern scene. Number 43. Flower, gleam and glow, let your power shine. Rapunzel only sang this song in full when she healed Flynn's hand. Can you finish the rest? Number 44. This was the first musical for many of the animators who worked on the film. The biggest thing they realized from it? Breathing is such a subtle but vital motion to focus on while working on songs, and they would watch Donna Murphy's live performances to understand breath. Number 45. All the details in Tangled are so fine, from the freckles on Rapunzel's face to the texture on the fabric. However, one of the most amazing details in the entire film is the reflection of the characters' surroundings in their eyes. Impressive attention to detail. Number 46. Because hair was quite the challenge to conquer when it came to computerized animation, Disney hired Kelly Ward, whose PhD concentration was in animating CGI hair. She helped the crew understand the physics behind how hair moves. Number 47. 7 years of research and work went into 70 feet of Rapunzel's blonde magical hair, back from when KEANE was a director. But why is her hair 70 feet? Well, simply enough, it's because that's how tall the tower is. Of course, there's other magical properties to Rapunzel's hair. It grows and shrinks throughout the movie so the animators could work with it more easily. Number 48. Rapunzel's hair has over 100,000 strands. Boy, that's a lot to control. Well, actually, that's about the same amount as a regular brunette has. I guess we can't dispute her hair change at the end then, can we? Number 49. Dragging along that much hair must be a chore since it would weigh about 10.4 pounds in real life. That's 4.2 kilograms for our non-American viewers. Gonna bet that Rapunzel has some strong shoulders, or a strong head on her shoulders. Hey! Number 50. KEANE saw Rapunzel's hair as a metaphor for the potential that is growing out of her. He expressed his vision to his technical crew when they were working on animating her locks so that they would look at it in a more artistic light. Number 51. The title Rapunzel became Tangled for 2 reasons. The first reason is that after The Princess and the Frog, Disney realized that their titles weren't appealing as much to boys. The second reason came from the director's realization that Flynn was just as important as Rapunzel to the plot, so it reflected the film's story better. Literally. Number 52. We all know that Flynn's real name is Eugene, right? Well, it was almost Bastian. We, like Rapunzel, like Eugene much better. Number 53. Early designs of Flynn had him looking like a pirate thief with a long goatee and a braided ponytail. Later, he had a bigger but softer look, kind of like Kristoff in Frozen. Number 54. Disney actually held a hot man meeting to decide on Flynn's look. You heard right. Women in the studio were asked to describe their idea of a handsome guy, and a combination of those notes led to Flynn Rider's appearance. In fact, the photos that were brought in were Frankenstein together to give a better visual reference. If only we could create our love interest like that in real life. Number 55. I know we all wish we could stare into Flynn's hunky brown eyes forever, right? Well, there's literally 1 second in the movie during a prison scene where Flynn's eyes are blue. Whoops. Number 56. The iconic lantern scene was inspired by a suggestion from John Ripa, one of the film's story artists. After the crew wasn't fully satisfied with the initial idea of using fireworks to capture Rapunzel's attention, John Ripa referenced the traditional lantern ceremony in Indonesia as a different option. They loved the idea, and so do we. Number 57. When deciding to go with the lantern idea, the crew hoped that they would introduce LASSETER to something completely new, but he had his own personal history with floating lanterns already. On his anniversary, LASSETER and his wife traveled to Bora Bora together and released a wishing lantern together. Maybe the scene was fated all along. Number 58. The romantic scene of lights is made up of 45,000 lanterns. That's a lot of love the kingdom has for Rapunzel. Number 59. To make it even sweeter, the lantern that Rapunzel pushes back into the sky belongs to her parents. You can tell because of its unique design with the kingdom emblem on it. So sweet. Number 60. Both the lantern and the dance scene in the film beat out the Hunchback of Notre Dame for having the largest crowd in any animated film. Tangled's crowds consist of 3,000 people, and each one was animated individually. Number 61. GRENO and Howard considered starting the film with a traditional storybook opening, but they decided against it in the end. However, they did still keep some aspects of it by having Flynn narrate.
This is the story of how I died.
Number 62. In that version, the story followed the Brothers Grimm tale of Rapunzel a little more closely. The king knew that Gothel had the magical flower and asked her for it 3 times until he ultimately stole it from her. Number 63. In early drafts, there was a fortune-telling monkey named Vigor the Visionary who had a big old role in the film, but because he was a favorite among the crew, they didn't completely get rid of him. You can see him in the end credits animation. Number 64. Originally, Vigor predicted that someone in Rapunzel's life was keeping her from her destiny. Well, he could have told her that it was Gothel. The monkey also nearly told Rapunzel that she was a lost princess, but they were interrupted. Number 65. Though it seems almost obvious that Pascal and Maximus should be silent but hilarious sidekicks, the idea to keep them as pantomimes came from GRENO and BYRON admiring the comedic works of Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin. They took those idols as inspiration and tried to add that flair in the chameleon and the horse that we love today. Number 66. The lovable Pascal was created so that Rapunzel had a friend to talk to, but he came from an earlier concept where Rapunzel would paint creatures that visited her. Since chameleons keep changing colors, she would keep repainting him. It was a moment that kept the cuddly lizard in their minds. Number 67. Since chameleons are known for changing colors so much, artist Victoria Kim wasn't sure what color to make him. She explored blues, purples, and different patterns, but eventually landed on green because it looked best with Rapunzel. Number 68. Pascal was named after a real panther chameleon. The real-life Pascal is a true animal companion of Kelly Lewis, one of the Disney animation artists. Number 69. If you pay close attention to the end credits, you'll notice 6 names under chameleon kids. Well, real-life Pascal's babies, Shakti, Bitey, Tungbert, Mr. Sticky, Baby, and Nathan Jr. were all born during the production of the film. Aw, little cuties. Wait, does this mean Pascal's a girl? Number 70. You may have noticed that the Snuggly Duckling is actually integrated with a tree. It's based off old pubs in England that shifted shape due to their natural surroundings, but they did also take inspiration from some American roadhouses. Number 71. Specifically, Heinolds' First and Last Chance in San Francisco was a huge inspiration for the chaotic interior of the Tangled pub. They simply loved how the old floor was immediately slanted upon entrance. Number 72. So much hard work went into Tangled's cozy little pub that it even has its own cute backstory. An old grandmother opened the pub and planted a small tree near it. As the tree grew, it began to engulf the building. Rather than cutting the tree, the family began to adapt the branches into the pub's design. What a charming history. Number 73. There's actually a little shrine to the grandmother in the pub's design, but it's not visible in the movie since the story of the pub's details never made it into the plotline. Number 74. We all can agree that the Snuggly Duckling is an adorable name, right? Well, at one point, concept art implies that the place was called the Rotten Corpse. Yikes, not as friendly. Number 75. The pub was also called the Jaunty Moose in early production. Rapunzel refused to go into the pub at first, but went in to save Flynn after he stole some food. Oh, Eugene. Number 76. It was also in this version of the film that Rapunzel showed us her tactical strategy by whipping her hair around a person's limbs and using them as a fighting puppet. Man, I don't want to get tangled up in her hair. Number 77. There are about 20 thugs in the pub, plus 3 civilians in the balcony. However, we only know the name of 14 ruffians: Hookhand, Vladimir, Ulif, Big Nose, Shorty, Attila, Gunther, Tor, Killer, Fang, Innkeeper, Axel, Bruiser, Pirate Thug, and Goat Boy. Okay, they're only sort of names. Number 78. Hookhand actually has a tiny little baby hand under his hook that's about the size of a thimble. This was so that the animators could work with his model efficiently. But hey, the more you know.
I bet it feels huge in this hand.
Number 79. The initial idea behind I Have a Dream was to show the thugs performing poems about their dreams. This came from the very real tough poetry jams that happen in biker bars all over. Number 80. If you look closely at the decorations in the Snuggly Duckling, you might spot a few Easter eggs. Pinocchio, Pumbaa, and Louis from The Princess and the Frog are all there. Number 81. Some think that the goat that appears during I Have a Dream is an Easter egg referencing the park ride Thunder Mountain, but the animators have admitted that it's not. They just thought a goat would be funny. Number 82. Remember how Rapunzel and Flynn briefly went to a library in the kingdom? Well, if you look around, you might notice that many of the books reference other Disney movies, specifically Beauty and the Beast, The Little Mermaid, and Sleeping Beauty. Number 83. The mobile above baby Rapunzel's crib foreshadows important figures from Rapunzel's future. Note the chameleon, duck, Cupid, horse, and bluebird. Okay, so we get that the chameleon represents Pascal, the duck is for the pub, the Cupid is for Shorty, and the horse is for Maximus. But what's the bluebird for? Well, there was a bluebird that flies around Rapunzel when she finally leaves her tower. Pretty cool. Number 84. If you look closely at Rapunzel's tower, you'll notice that in her paintings and surrounding objects, there are references to 5 previous Disney princesses. For example, there's an apple at the end of the staircase and a spindle in the room. Can you find the other 3? Number 85. 3 pigeons from Bolt make a cameo while Flynn is soaring through the sky after the thugs help him escape from the prison. Birds of a feather. Get it? Because they're thieves. Number 86. The Stabbington brothers don't have official names, but the crew called them Patchy and Not Patchy. Not Patchy was also sometimes called Chops. Figured out which one is which yet? Kinda obvious. Number 87. The design behind the look of the tower actually came from the idea that it was part of a ruined kingdom destroyed by a catastrophic landslide. Originally, the ruins were supposed to surround the tower, but later, they realized that people may not think about the tower too much. It definitely saved them a lot of time. Number 88. The Kingdom of Corona was based off a French island city named Mont Saint-Michel. What's funny about its name is that Donna Murphy was born in the area named Corona in Queens, New York. Number 89. To truly capture a Middle European feel in Tangled scenery, the crew did extensive research to make sure the architecture and nature matched up with real-life environment in those locations. That means that every plant you see in the film really does grow in the Austrian-Hungarian area. Number 90. KEANE's daughter Claire grew up in her father's footsteps and also became an artist. She helped him and his team out by illustrating much of Rapunzel's paintings in the tower. GLEN actually came up with the idea to have Rapunzel paint the walls of the tower because Claire begged to do that when she was a little girl. Aww. Number 91. Apologies for this in advance, but Flynn's sultry smolder is based directly on Nathan GRENO. Howard said that he's always been a bit of a ladies' man.
Aye.
Number 92. As Gothel never ages, it shouldn't be too surprising that she wears slightly outdated clothing. Mother Gothel's signature red dress is fashioned like those from the Renaissance, which took place quite a long time before Tangled is set. Number 93. Rapunzel's real parents actually have clothing from an older period as well. This is because they're continuing the tradition of culture of their country that has been passed down for generations. Number 94. For a long time, Rapunzel's wardrobe consisted of a light green dress. It later ended up becoming purple to signify that she is indeed royalty. Number 95. Rapunzel is the first Disney princess to be barefoot since Pocahontas. However, in 2013, they both received some footwear in the Big Princess redesign. Can't have them getting splinters. Number 96. Mandy Moore adores performing barefoot, so she and Rapunzel have footwear aversion in common. Nice to know that there was some authenticity in the sound booth. Number 97. Rapunzel was the first trademark Disney princess to have powers. Though many of the other princesses were involved with magic in one way or another, it wasn't until Tangled that the heroines were able to do fantastical things themselves. I guess Elsa has Rapunzel to thank. Number 98. For a while there was a rumor that Tangled would be the last Disney princess film, but as we all know, it ended up being not true. Guess the rumor was, well, you know, let go. No. How about a tangle of lies? Number 99. By now, you must know about Rapunzel and Flynn's brief cameo in Frozen when the gates of the castle are open. Can you guess who didn't know? The directors! In fact, it was an observant fan that first let GRENO know. Number 100. Remember when Double Rainbow was a thing back in 2010? Believe it or not, Disney marketed Tangled through a parody of the viral video. Double Tower features Flynn's, camcorder point of view as he discovers Rapunzel and her tower with the same enthusiasm of the original Double Rainbow guy. The video is definitely something.
What does it mean? What is it?
Number 101. On the Blu-ray bonus features, there's a fun selection of promotional type videos that mimic different types of commercials. From a cologne called Smolder by Flynn, to an ad for multi-use frying pans, to the commercial Rapunzel hair. Can't help but smile and laugh when you're watching them.
Side effects may include drowsiness.
Number 102. They also have a series of Flynn's animated thieving adventures. The style is much different, but Flynn is the same suave, smoldering smart aleck.
I'll just let myself out.
Number 103. And if you were sad that you didn't get to see Rapunzel and Eugene get married, you actually can. The short film sequel, Tangled Ever After, came out in 2012. We suggest you watch it, especially if you want to see Maximus and Pascal get into their own little fiasco. Number 104. The only time we hear Rapunzel's real mother speak is in that short, though it is just Maximus's imagination of what she would say.
Those were my grandmother's wedding rings.
Still counts! Number 105. Rapunzel is still barefoot in Ever After, though her dress is too long for us to notice. Concept artist Victoria Ling's illustrations are proof enough. Number 106. You know those Disney Channel wand clips? Rapunzel got her turn at drawing the famous mouse ears, right after Flynn drew glasses and a mustache on Maximus. Those two, what a bromance. Number 107. Speaking of Disney Channel, Tangled is getting a series. After the premiere of the original movie, Tangled Before Ever After, on March 24th, 2017, the TV series will begin. It takes place before Rapunzel and Flynn tie the knot, and when this show finally gets here, it's going to be the best day ever. Once again, I'm Leo Camacho, and thank you for watching 107 Facts About Tangled. Which character is your favorite? Are you excited for the TV series? Comment below and let us know. We have new videos dropping every week, so let us know which animated film or TV show you want us to cover next. And remember, Frederator loves you.